welcome back to the Champion Bengals podcast. We are back recapping. Nope, scratch that. We're previewing the Week 11 slate in the NFL. That was a hot start, eh, Chappie?
Hot start.
Hell. Choking
Good
on
job.
words right out of the gate here. Way to go, Bengals.
Yeah,
Way to
figure it
be.
out.
Chappie,
Figure it
how
out,
we
pal.
doing today, man? We're diving
Doing
into the
great.
Week 11 slate. How you
Yeah,
feeling?
week 11. We're here. We're way past the halfway mark now. It's fantastic. What does your season look like in fantasy?
Wow.
Wow. All right. Wow.
My season looks pretty fucking incredible. I'm not going to lie. At least in some of my leagues. Others, I
At
can't
least in
say
some
that.
of my leagues.
I cannot say that. And we're kind of at that point in the season, guys, where it's you're buying or you're selling, right? You're either giving up on the team that's like 2 wins, or you're going all in if you think you're a contender. So we're going to talk about it a little bit, trade-wise, fantasy stuff on the show, and players we're looking at, players we're dishing, all that good stuff. But before we get into this week's slate of games, on Sunday anyway, I want to kind of touch on last night's matchup between the Jets and the Patriots.
Yeah.
Funny, I'm just actually surfing Twitter here. Found something pretty funny considering it's backing up what I've been saying the entire fucking time about the Patriots. And just if you guys are new and tuning in, I am not a Patriots fan. I am quite the opposite of that. Patriots hater, just like the rest of us. Chappie, would you say that you're on that wagon too?
100% on that wagon. Yeah,
Good.
we have been on that wagon. I'm impressed by what they're doing, but I don't want it to last. Yeah.
Okay. So
That's how it goes.
we'll talk about this game, and we'll get into what I pulled up on Twitter here. But what did you think of that game last night? And we're not talking about the 3 touchdowns by Travion Henderson that you happen to have on one of your teams. That's great and all. But let's talk about this matchup and what the expectations were here. What did you think of that game?
Yeah, Justin Fields is ass. That's just what it is.
Okay, stop right there. Before we go any farther than that, I was listening to a sports pod today, something like that, and they were talking about the first drive in the Jets game.
Yeah.
And how they actually tried to do everything but let Justin Fields throw the
ball. Yeah.
Which is fucking embarrassing as hell.
It
like,
is
at
tough.
this point in his career, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that
the guy
I was,
aside,
I was
football
realizing.
player,
So, do you know what his line was for that game?
it was like 100 and
132 and a half. 132 and a half yards.
Oh.
And guess what? He didn't hit it. So,
oh yeah.
like, they just wouldn't let him do it. It was like, let's feed Brees the ball. If you were smart in that matchup, you took an over on Brees Hall attempts because it was just a gift. And at
What was
that
his
point,
rushing total though in that game?
yeah, it wasn't
He had to
great.
have gone under.
Yeah, I think they still gave. Let's see, Justin Field, Brees
gotta
Hall,
pull this up
1458. Yeah,
58
just
yards
insane.
rushing?
Yeah.
Oh,
58.
he might have gone over.
He might. Yeah.
Wow, I think he went
considering.
over by like a couple yards. That's pretty wild.
But yeah, like, dude, the fact that they have to be like, the only way that we're gonna compete in this game is if we get our legs on the ground and we just try to leg out first downs in any which way possible. They were throwing every option play that they could do to try and get across the fucking, and they did. The first drive had a play. They ran it the whole way through. Then Justin Fields tucks it in. Anytime touchdown for Justin Fields was also a gift if they were going to score. If they were going to score, it was going to be Justin Fields. He's not throwing or passing. It's so bad. Like,
I feel bad because like I wanted him to be something, and I just
you
felt
drafted
like,
him. Funny enough.
I listen. He's had some wicked games.
Yo,
with
he's the
his
most
legs. That's why
athletically gifted quarterback
Exactly.
that we've seen in a while. Like, that is able to do, should be able to do everything, especially with his
he
legs.
just can't throw football, which is crucial.
And I don't know.
piece.
Like, I've been trying to figure out if an offense catered to that, whether or not, because we saw it a bit last year, but we did. We saw it with Pittsburgh for the first 4 games where Justin Fields started for that team, and they came out really, really well. And it was like Tomlin kind of knew that in order to get the most out of him, that's how the offense was going to run. So it was a run-heavy base team. And then they switched it up, and we had talked about this. I think they were 4-2 at the time when they made that switch to Wilson. And then I was like, you're kind of ahead of the game. Maybe it's just that you want to kind of change the element. They go to Russell Wilson, they fucking suck. So
well, they are actually good before they sucked.
For a brief period, and then they lost 5 straight
because they played real teams at that point.
and they got shit on as we've mentioned. But that offense catered to Justin Fields better than this scheming has with the Jets offense. And we talked about this with Breece Hall. It's like you have this, fucking Ferrari that you just want to keep in your garage the whole time. So, like, that's where I kind of look at the two and say, I don't think anyone knows how to fucking coordinate this offense in a way that's actually going to make them successful. And then the defense on the other side, as soon as that departure happened last year, that also went to shit. So I just think it's an organization that sucks right now. Sorry, but it's real. Like, that's the facts of the case. Like, they just can't get anything right now. And I don't know. This team is just, there's no offensive gifts. Like, they've kept what they think is offensive gifts, but it's just, Wilson's hurt.
They don't know how to utilize them.
And I Mitchell can't catch a ball. So
yeah, that's
what they were doing
tough.
with the Colts. It's fucking hilarious.
I will say that was a dime by Justin Fields.
There was like 2 or 3 of them, man. That's the unfortunate part.
But back to your point where like Steelers were 4-2 with Justin Fields doing their thing. Like the thing with that was, remember we talked about the point of them playing with a lead and him not having to play from behind, and then the moment he played from behind, it turned into a giant mess. Like, that's what those running teams can do. They can play effectively with a lead like that. Their defense can step in. He had those components. You don't get that with the Jets this year. It's a dumpster fire. He doesn't have the talent on the offensive side of the ball. You would need so much for that to be a thing because you're just so limited if you can't throw a football, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you can't hit timing
you're
routes,
one-dimensional.
you can't do these things. Yeah.
Way over, right? Like, it's
he's
brutal.
Great in a college offense, but not in an NFL league, right? Like, it's just not going to work out.
No, when you can get to use your legs and kind of create those plays where your legs and honestly the offense. And that's why Baltimore has done so well, because they did create an offense catered around the quarterback that they drafted. And so that's where I don't understand why the Jets have honestly not gone to that type of offense. You saw Washington kind of sync up to that a bit better last year. Like, this is where you kind of look at this and say, why haven't you been a run heavy offense? If your passing isn't there and it's not there, you're just trying to force it in a lot of ways. But if you keep leaning run and kind of give yourself the opportunity to, and I think Jaden Daniels is obviously a better passer, way better passer than fucking Justin Fields, but Justin Fields is a fucking phenomenal runner. I would say way more than Jaden Daniels. So that's where you kind of go, oh, fuck. Like, I don't know if they're just using this team the right way. Like, it just doesn't, it sucks every week to watch this game. Like, these games happen, they suck. Like, they're so bad.
I'm done making excuses for Justin Fields. I've seen it on multiple teams.
I agree.
Bro, you're never going to be a viable quarterback in this league if you can't fucking throw the football. I don't care how good you are, how talented you are on the ground. Like, it takes way too many resources and too many things to go right for you to be competent because of the lack of deficiency in the pass game. Like, that's it. And you're seeing it across the board with these guys, like the Anthony Richardsons, these types of guys. Like, if you can't throw the fucking football, it's never going to work. It will never work.
Let's see if Justin Fields leaves the Jets and goes to another team with a decent coaching staff, whether or not Justin Fields has a revival.
Yeah, no shit.
Because we've seen this time and time again where, hey, shit, this guy doesn't get a chance. He doesn't get a good offensive coordinator. He has a shitty team that's like, just the organization is not that great. Gets to another team. Oh, shit, Daniel Jones. What? Daniel Jones, all of a sudden, who we're talking about with the Colts. That's now something magical that came out of nothing, right? And there's so many opportunities.
At this point, nobody's taking him, man. Like, he's on a one-year contract this year.
It's a tough look.
Nobody's taking him.
Yeah, and the team that will take him is a shitty team, right? Like, that's the problem. So
he's going to need like a Baker Mayfield type of thing to happen, but he has to be good at what he does. It doesn't work, man. So I don't know how much more of a career he's going to have if this is the showing he keeps putting out. But aside from that, let's talk about the good team in this matchup, the Patriots, really quick here. obviously, prime time. We're seeing Patriots are 9-2 now. 9-2. It's pretty fucking remarkable. I think they already hit their over on the season.
Yeah, they did.
And they're looking good, man. Like you have an offense where you gotta for Zach Taylor, if you're out there, this is what good coaching looks like. This is what can happen when you have good coaching and good scouting and things come together. Shout out Cincinnati Bengals for letting me down every fucking year with garbage coaching and a garbage organization. But look what's happening, man. You got Josh McDaniels out there, albeit trash head coach. We've seen that multiple times. He just keeps coming back, and he's a competent offensive coordinator. Like there's so much rhythm, and it just seems natural, the flow to their offense, which good to see. But I will say, like, you can't look past the fact that these guys have had the most Mickey Mouse schedule I've ever seen. Like it's truly remarkable how bad the teams are that they're playing, and they're going to be playing some more bad teams all the way through. And I honestly think, like, dude, they could get into the playoffs potentially with like the number 1, number 2 seed, and they're going to get knocked out by the first matchup they play because it's just going to be a better team playing them.
Yeah,
they haven't seen
it. Is a classic case of that story, a tale as old as time. Like it is honestly like they are leaning to be honestly. It's just like it's the situation where it's not quite the team that it's going to be in 2 years. But they're going to get a taste of it, and they're going to get back into the playoffs. Now, this is the Patriots we're talking about, so I'm not going to talk too much shit about the Patriots in the playoffs because who knows what the fuck can happen in this league.
It's not Tom Brady,
but
bro.
I don't think it's Tom Brady. Exactly. And Drake May's been solid, man. Like there's nothing more that I think any of us was going to say about like what Drake May's been to this team. He's been awesome so far. But I think there is an element to what you said with Vrabel, with his team and how the offense is moving. I think Henderson is unlocking this offense to another level, honestly. I think they've had this kind of secret weapon that they've yet to unleash a little bit. We all would have drafted them relatively high in all of our leagues. Didn't get to see that until late. And I think that's just the case with it. I think this team is finally kind of gelling into that. Defensively, we knew they were solid. They've been solid for a couple years now. And I think it's just they were waiting for the offense to catch up. I think the offense is about caught up. We'll see whether or not it kind of transcends this team into a playoff contender. But yeah, I think that 9-2 record is a little bit inflated right now. But we'll see whether or not, the team kind of gets a little bit more. We still got a lot of the season left. Well, I'm curious to see what this record ends at.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say just, a little bit inflated. Like
well, what would you believe their record should be? Like,
okay,
question.
I want you to take a look at this. So the worst 7 teams in the NFL right now. Okay, we'll go from 7 to 1 worst in the NFL. Miami Dolphins, Vegas, Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, New York Jets, New Orleans, Tennessee. Guess who the Patriots have played?
Oh.
All 7 of those fucking teams. Well,
yeah.
Minus the Giants, which they're playing on Monday. They've played the bottom of the NFL. Yeah. It's comical how awful this fucking schedule is. That's what I'm saying. Like they are getting.
You're absolutely right.
You'll ever see.
Yeah.
Bottom 7, bro. This isn't even past the bottom 10. Like you're playing the worst of the worst.
This could be a collapse. We don't know. Like we'll see how it goes. That's why I said last pod. I think the Bills still take the division, right? Like I still think that's
a tough ask now. You're
but that's
like 2.5
that's
games
the
behind.
schedule and 2.5 games behind, right? But like you mentioned, there's a spicy game coming up, right? Whatever week that's going to be, 15. So like that's going to be a big fucking game.
I'll give you a hot take right now. Bengals beat the Patriots next week. Hot take. You heard it here first. I promise you. Bengals beat the Patriots.
All right.
Lock it in.
You heard it. You heard it there first. You can lock that in.
No, I'm telling you. It'll be a closer game than you think. But anyway, they have a soft schedule. It is what it is. They look great. I'm not taking anything away from them. They're doing their thing. But yes, there is something to be said about the opponents, right?
Yeah, there is something to be said there. Like the pass rush and everything for these teams as well against like Drake May. Like there's an element here where he has looked incredibly smooth and has made a lot of good throws. And so
Yeah.
he is not he doesn't look out of place at all. And he looks like, as we just talked about, the guy who does look like get a new career. This guy is going to be here for a while, right? And so that's what I kind of look at the Patriots and say, no, this is going to be a tough team to play over the next few seasons for sure. Could be for over the next decade. So that's where I look at this. And yeah, they have a cookie cutter schedule where it's bullshit and whatever the case, but yeah, it's going to be tough. Like down the stretch, they do get Bills and Ravens. So it'll be interesting to see what that does to the division. And that's why I'm kind of saying that I think up until that, yeah, Bengals, Giants, we'll see how this goes. I hope you're right for my sake. But it's Giants, I think, is going to be a win. That's going to be a win for sure. Especially with what's happening there.
I don't see how it wouldn't be, you know.
Bills, Ravens, and then you get Jets, Dolphins to end the season. Like it's just so fucking soft. But yeah, we'll see. You're 100% right. It's a playoff team. It's going to get in. Whether or not they make it far in the playoffs, the true teams come out. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, totally. But yeah, let's move on to some of the games we got coming on this Sunday. Let's talk about some of these. We'll take a look at some of the lines, some fantasy implications for your teams on the weekend, and let's just dive into some of these matchups. We got another international one this weekend. It's a hot matchup. Nice one. We got the Commanders and the Dolphins, baby. Oof. Whew. Just makes me want to get up at 9:30 and watch some dog shit football, doesn't it? Damn. Let's talk about this matchup. I mean, hey, we got a little bit of juice out of the Dolphins last week against the Bills. So we take a look at this matchup, 9:30 a.m. It's in Spain. So we got the Dolphins favored by 2.5 here, coming off the win against Buffalo. Playing the Commanders. Commanders have just been beat up this season. I don't know what I'm expecting from the Commanders. I just think this is two similar teams. It's going to be a messy game. Totals 47.5 right now. When I look at it, obviously HN, huge game last week. Washington, shitty defense. Like, am I leaning towards that guy again? Waddle, same thing. Like, those two guys have been getting it done as of recent. And I mean, I'm not looking at the Washington defense as, hey, like, they're going to stop the Dolphins, right? And then on the Washington side of things, like, I'm sure they're going to have some success going against the Dolphins defense. So what do you make of this game?
No, I think you're bang on with that. We got a Commanders team that has struggled against the run, honestly, and more so just not even struggled against the run. It's just had to be persistently against the run, right? Like this team has been in a record that's not going to have them up in a lot of these games, and so they're constantly kind of falling behind, having to pass more, and then as a result, you're getting run on. So right now, I think they're ranked 8th, if I'm looking at this right, in yardage against the running back position. And it's funny because it's not like they're giving up a heavy average of running, but they're getting run on enough that it's going to count, right? So I think your chain poll there is probably the accurate one. And then, just kind of like, what is this team going to do against the pass? I don't see much of this team. Like, they're a little hurt. They're a lot hurt, actually. Not even a little hurt. Commanders are a lot hurt. And the Dolphins are just kind of, I don't know, we'll take for what they want out of that game last week and what kind of builder that was for running into this game. Obviously, they got a good feeling out of it. It was a big win in their locker room. So they might be carrying that forward, where I think the Commanders have just been trying to survive, honestly, after the Jaden Daniels injury. And this team has been without Debo a couple games, so they don't have any real star players that are stepping up in the absence of these guys. So it's just going to be tough. And then you got Mariota fucking throwing the ball here. Like, what do we expect of that? We expect a lot of running and the same kind of shit that we were just talking about with Fields, right? So that might be the play where we look at and just kind of say, hey, is Mariota going to pass the ball? I don't know. I don't think so. Not against this team, and Dolphins haven't been terrible against the pass this season.
Fair. Okay, well, let's take a look at some of the props. Mariota's passing line right now is 200.5 yards. Tua, 238.5. And then we can look at some of the receiving props, some of the main guys here. So Devon Achane, I'd rather look at his rush rec, but let's kind of break it down. His receiving prop right now, 38.5, and then his rushing line is set at 79.5. So obviously last week he had 174 rushing yards, huge game. When I go into this, I just look at the game that Jahmyr Gibbs just had against this Washington defense, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at 79.5, and I just think that's too low for a guy who's been hot, who's coming off a huge game.
Super consistent, yeah.
And where I think, you know what, a Washington defense they've been run on, you know that they're going to go to Achane. You know they will. He's going to get his touches, right? All he needs is to break a nice big one, and I think he can do that against the Redskins. Oof, not the Redskins, the Commanders. Oof. Shout out Redskins, though.
Shout out Redskins.
But I'm not scared of that line. I think that's still a fair line, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's facts, right? Like at the end of the day,
his rush rec 123.5. Like, he's getting the rock a lot, and I'm just not scared against the Washington team, right?
No, I think we're on that. If we're gonna play it, probably attempts. This team has given up a lot of attempts. Washington has. I don't like. This is a different game though. It just kind of plays more into that kind of grindy type of game if there's no offense, and we're talking about two teams that kind of just, I don't know how much offense will come out of this game. That's the other thing. So even it listed, what is it at 40, what was it, 48 and a half,
I think
47 and a half. Yeah, like that to me is an underplay if I've ever seen one, because I just don't necessarily think that both of these teams have these massive scoring assets unless one team takes a major lead. And
I think
that's
it's more
also not indicated.
The softer defenses, right?
Yeah.
Like you know that obviously you're going to be able to move the ball a little bit against these teams. I think the Bills matchup last week was more just the Dolphins getting up for a big matchup because they don't have a lot left to play for in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think this, like, Dolphins coming off a game like that against the Bills, this is more like a Commanders need like something to feel good about spot.
Yeah.
So when I look at that matchup, I go, okay, what are the Commanders' lines? Because they've been suppressed because of the last weeks. I go and I look at, okay, you can run against the Dolphins. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt right now, his over-under line's 31.5. Like, I think those things are attainable because I just don't see the Dolphins beating up on an NFC team where it doesn't really matter the same way a Bills divisional play would be, you know? Like, that's kind of the narrative that I read into this.
Yeah, I will agree completely that a chain rush attempts is probably the play. I'm just, as we kind of review the season that has been, like we had said this last week as well, cashed on that between Montgomery and Gibbs attempts. That was the kind of double-edged, fucking super sword that they have. But if you look at the past couple weeks, even beyond that setup, we know what that Seattle game was, where that was just a fucking Sam Darnold, let me throw the ball downfield, doesn't give a fuck about the run game.
That's every week with Sam Darnold.
That's Seattle. So that's not even in the contention of this matchup. Like, that's not even, I'm not even going to factor that game. And then you go into the KC situation. Again, not really two strong running backs in any case. And that was the game actually we bet on Pacheco to go over, and they did. Yeah. And then before that, you got Javonte Williams for 19 for a 116 and a tutty. Before that, in week 6, it was Chicago, 14 for 108 and a receiving touchdown for DeAndre Swift. Like, these are some relatively big yardage games. And the attempts even too. Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, 16 and 17 rush attempts. And that was a massive receiving game actually for Bijan Robinson. So if you're going to go archetype again and kind of see if we got that running back with the two-ended skill, well, you had Jahmyr Gibbs, who had 142 plus the 30 and 3 touchdowns. And you had Bijan Robinson here, who had a massive game as well with 75, 1 rushing touchdown, 4 receptions for 106 receiving yards. So, yeah, I think
these backs are also the best of the best in the league.
The best of the best. But that's what a chain is, too. A chain's in that category. So,
he absolutely is.
He's top 3, top 5, 100%. So I think that's a great play. Rush rec, Devin Achane, Devon, whatever the fuck his name is. Achane. I had this guy on my team since I drafted him.
Still can't get his
don't
name right.
fucking
I
get
know.
his name right. I don't get anybody's name right if you haven't figured that out yet. So
Yeah.
it's a me thing. It's not anything else. But yeah,
Pretty
no, I think
straightforward.
that's the play. It's pretty straightforward. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I can't see this Washington Commanders team stepping into like they're gonna grind this one out maybe, but and the Dolphins suck. If not for a chain and honestly fucking Waddle this year, they're a rollover team. So yeah, we'll see.
I think
Didn't get
this.
rolled over last week.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and that's what I'm gonna do. I talked about this last podcast as well. These are where I'm starting to fade guys, like big games, big spots like that, playing for shit that matters because they aren't actually in the race. In this game, I'm actually going to take
taking
the
an under?
Commanders.
Oh,
I'm taking the Commanders.
okay.
I'm going to take the Commanders in this game. I'm
Valid.
going to spot the 2.5 points. Yeah, I like them in a spot where they're probably a little bit more desperate, and I know the Dolphins can give you some stinkers, right? So
The only thing I can't like, yeah, you're gonna start turning the scores around just to have it be like kind of like how many teams can we disappoint down the stretch here? Because I don't think the Commanders, just like we said with like the Dolphins, they're playing for pride a bit, but you know that's about it. Because I think their season's about done, right? Like there's nothing really like they're probably one or two games away from elimination.
they're just giving Mikey Boy one last ride out the door. That's all it is. See you later. This team's going to rebuild like crazy in the offseason, and it is what it is.
Into the Florida sunset. Let's go.
That's it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, we'll wrap that up. We'll see how that game plays, but you know, give us a decent game. Don't be a stinker. But yeah, let's bounce over to another matchup. We got the Panthers. We got the Falcons. Last time these two teams matched up, Carolina beat Atlanta 30-0. Kind of been that season for Atlanta. We don't really know what to make of them. We think they should be better. They have good showings, and then they just disappear, right? And we talked about the usage of Bijan and Algier from last week. I think this is a spot where it's like you gotta lean Atlanta here. They have to get a win at some point, right? Mm-hmm. They've already lost to Carolina. They gotta get Carolina at home. So immediately going into this, I think obviously first thing I'm actually looking on is the Carolina side. We just saw, how shit that Atlanta defense is against the rush, and I'm looking at Rico Dowdle. Like, that's the first thing I'm looking at. I'm looking at the running back that's been hot, going up against a defense that's poor against the rush. So his initial line right now is 89.5. Pretty heavy. Like, that's a big line. I don't know, man. I look at it and I'm like, man, the Falcons got to have a big game at some point. How relevant is this going to be, right? Like, are the Panthers going to be in this game? Are the Falcons going to actually put up points? I don't know. But I just know that Atlanta's given up a lot of points to the running back position, so that's where I look first. What are you seeing?
Yeah, and I don't like agreeing with you. But I'm on the same train with you. I just said like Atlanta against Carolina, Carolina against Atlanta before we kick this off, and as an opportunity matchup where you can kind of pick apart that game and start to kind of get some of the nice plays in that, right? Carolina historically has been easy to run on. It's a little different this season, but still even the attempts and their yards in a lot of ways for the top guys have come through. Honestly, yards more than attempts. So that's something that I'm looking at for Bijan. Honestly, I'm looking more to his rush rec line. Week 3, 72 and 39. Decent receptions in 5, but his rush attempts was only 13. So I do think that this is going to be a game where they are going to be battling, but I think they're still going to kind of show up. It's just tough to call that Atlanta team because they're so back and forth on what it is that you're going to get out of the team. And then on the other side, you're right. Like, I can't look at this and not say, holy shit, this run defense has just been pitiful. Especially just as of late, right? But like, I think the recency bias, a little bit of what Jonathan Taylor just did to this team is Jonathan Taylor and not necessarily that. Now, Bijan Robinson isn't far from that talent level, right? And obviously they exchanged their words after the game to be like, you're up, right? But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'm more leaning from like a touchdown from Rico Dowdle than anything else. I think that's a good play that's going to happen. If we look back in the matchups, a lot of what's happened has been on the ground against this team in terms of scoring. So, but it's been relatively split. Like, a lot of these matchups are interesting. The only other guy that really went super over his line was Christian McCaffrey. So you're having, just as an example in some of the data, 32 rush attempts last week, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm not even looking at that. That's the albatross, right? But Henderson, 14 for 55. Terrell Jennings had 11 rush attempts for fucking 35 and a touchdown in that game. And then it really spreads out. A chain had 18 for 67 and a touchdown. Ollie Gordon had 10 for 46. Maybe this is a backup play. Let's find the fucking backup on Carolina.
Algier.
No, on Carolina. Yeah. Chuba, which is crazy. But hey, that's a good play. So, and I'm not joking there. Like, I genuinely think that's a good play. Brian Robinson Jr. had 9 for 36. So, like, this is, fair. It's there.
Man, I feel like this is a bit of a trap.
It's a trap.
We're looking at it, and I'm like, okay, Bijan's line is 74.5 rushing yards, right? Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, he's kind of been on a downtrend these last couple of weeks. Atlanta's been sucking ass, like, and then you look on the other side, we just talked about the success that Rico Dowdle's had, the Atlanta defense, yada, yada, yada. But I expect this to be a big spot for Atlanta. Like, this is a big, big game for them. What if it's like Rico Dowdle under Bijan over rushing yards? What if, that generic game script of like Atlanta leads, Carolina chases happens, and then Dowdle's not getting that? And we know that his rush line, like 89.5, that's ballooned pretty heavy considering his past couple weeks, right? Like, I think that could be the narrative with this game. So that's probably something more I'd be looking at, is like, I think this is a big spot for Atlanta.
Yeah, the other thing is just I think they give up big explosive plays on the receiving side. And
Atlanta does?
Just, yeah. And I think that's something that we can kind of look at, a Tet or someone of the main kind of ilk there. Reason I say that, all the main receivers seem to get the work. If you just go through all of these matchups in the past, even Tet had, I think there's an opportunity there. So I would look at that and see whether or not that's the play. Because it's just the longest reception line, I think, for one of these guys. Like, you just have this yardage kind of spike up for all the main guys, all the wide receiver ones on each of these teams. So that's something that definitely is piquing my interest. But then, on that other front, this could be a game that's just kind of blown up on the ground. And that Bijan Robinson rush wreck play is probably a play, if anything. But the Rico Dowdle might be a rush wreck play as well. So kind of blend those two together and see where it goes. But I don't know if I'm going to touch. I might touch the attempts on Bijan Robinson, but Bijan Robinson rush wreck. It's kind of where I like to see just the patterns that I'm seeing right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, based on matchups, like, it seems like it's a good matchup game for a lot of players. So you're going to be starting your guys. The line right now, the over-under is only at 42, so, like, that's kind of where I look at this. I'm like, okay, well, if the rushing total is set that high, I'm just like, this could be a little bit more under, but the matchups there, they say a little bit more over. Interesting. This is going to be one I'm going to be keeping an eye on for sure. But let's talk about our next matchup, Bears-Vikings. Two teams that are kind of, I don't really know what to make of them quite yet. We've seen some good showings from the Bears. The Vikings had that big win against Detroit, and then they kind of came up flat last week, and it's just been that roller coaster ride for Minnesota this year. Close matchup so far. Like, the line is 2.5 on the Vikings at home. And diving into this, I just not confident about a lot of stuff with the Vikings. Let's look at they're 4-5 against the spread as well. 4-5 on the season. Total right now, 48.5. So they expect points to be scored in this game. So what do you see going into this matchup?
Yeah, I think just overviewed right now, the matchups on cornerbacks and on the wide is looking pretty nice for Minnesota. That's probably part of the reason. Even on the strong safety side, even with Jordan Addison, that's something for a deep ball. That's a high potential right now. If I look into the past games against the Bears, they've played well. They've controlled a lot of these games. They've had an interesting season, but I think they have controlled a lot of it. But the yardage that the Bears have given up has been a lot to the receiving core. Obviously, there's a game like the Bengals one where it inflates those totals a bit. But even past that, we're talking even last week against the Giants. Like, Darius Slayton got 89 yards, right? Like, Wando Robinson got 62. 6 receptions, 62 yards. Yeah. Then you had the shit show that was the Bengals game in week 9. He had 66 from, how do I fucking say his name? Andre Ishibash, or whatever the fuck. See, I'm still going to mess this shit up. Ishibash, whatever the fuck. I'm never going to get it right, man. I'm just never going to get it right.
It's like Super Mario, Yoshibash.
Yoshibash. Okay, that's a great way to say that. I will not fuck that up going forward.
There you go.
Yeah, but Bateman fucking had 2 receptions for 51 yards. I love the yardage play for the main receivers on the Vikings right now. Longest receptions, fucking receptions in general even looks nice. Yardage looks nice. I think that's probably where we're seeing this kind of built line ahead for the Vikings. And that's something that just kind of take a look at. There hasn't been a massive ground game against the Bears. And so I think there's going to be, apart from Genty having his massive kind of breakout game in week 3, was it week 3 or week 4? Really, it hasn't been a crazy ground game against the Bears. So I think they're going to win this game. If Minnesota wins this game, they're going to win it in the passing game. And that's going to happen on both sides, kind of like a neutral script play. So I'm looking receptions or receiving yards for either Jefferson and or Addison, and definitely a longest reception play between the two of them.
Interesting. When I look at this matchup, the Bears, we talk about, they've given up a lot on the ground. They're pretty weak against the running back positions. Obviously, Minnesota hasn't had a lot of consistency out of that position, but one guy that's been showing a little bit more, oomph back in the lineup is Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with Jordan Mason, but he looks like he's running in mud this season. It just hasn't been good for him. Aaron Jones actually looks like he has some burst. And I think he's a big piece of what makes this Vikings offense tick, is having him back in that lineup. With his line being at 53.5 right now and going up against the Bears defense, this being in Minnesota at home, I like his rushing line. It hasn't ballooned anywhere. It's very modest. I think there's going to be enough competitive football being played in this game that he's going to be utilized throughout. So I'm going to lean on the Aaron Jones rushing side of things. I think they got to get him going, and he's going to have some success against this Bears defense. But it's a good spot for both teams, I think. Like, obviously, when we look at the total, like you said, 48.5 is pretty high line, so there's some points expected to be scored here. And I do think, like, the guys on the Bears side, like, this is a spot for, I think, Caleb Williams rushing yards as well. I think just with the blitz-happy Vikings D, I think he gets out, he scrambles. We saw a lot of that last week. I think it's going to be one of those games, and we'll see how it turns out. But another 2.5 spot. Like, these first couple games, just really tight. And obviously 2.5, they're really just giving it to you because you're the home team. So,
yeah.
All right, now let's get on to good old Bengals-Steelers matchup this week. Can't wait to talk about this one because you're going to make a lot of money if you bet the Steelers side of things in this game, I'll tell you that much. If you haven't already, I want you to take every cent you have in your savings account and you're going to put it on Jalen Warren of the Pittsburgh Steelers because Cincinnati can't stop a cold out here. And then on the other side of things, you're probably just going to double up on Pat Freiermuth because the first matchup he had 111 yards. So I don't expect that to change. Bengals are coming off a bye week, but I don't think that fixes the defense. They haven't been good. The one thing I will say is the bright spot on the Bengals defense has been DJ Turner. He's been awesome for us. The first matchup between the Steelers and the Bengals, he shut down Metcalf pretty well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay away from the Metcalf thing. I think the Bengals give up way too much to the tight end and the running back position. I'd be stacking all my chips in that direction. And I'm sure you're going to say the same thing, Chappie.
Yeah, again, not a fan of agreeing in the
It's
amount
not like
of
we
times
haven't
that
talked about this.
we
And we haven't
yeah,
looked
we know
at
we've been
this,
on
and we
this
haven't
all
seen
season
it
long.
over and
We
over
talked
again.
about it. It's there. You can't deny it. It exists. I think the biggest thing right now is just how much at this point. It's just crazy. They're getting run on. They're getting passed on. They're getting like the Bengals have just been a fucking doormat all season long. Aside from that one guy that you were talking about, but like the totals, the rush totals, it's like I joked about it. I'm seeing it through. Kenny Gainwell is getting a start here. Like RB2 is getting a start in one of my lineups this week. Just because of the opportunity where number one, he might get a touchdown. So you get those little 6-7 points. The other side of it, like they're going to suck against the run. They're terrible against the run. Like this is an awful team against the run. Like, and we're talking Jordan Mason is running in mud. Well, he wasn't running mud in week 3. Jordan Mason put up 116 and 2 touchdowns. So no, this is the craziest like pattern all season long. Where if you face the Bengals, just fucking stack it against the run. 176 for Monangai last week. Yeah. Like what is that?
It's bad.
Fucking Brittan Brown got a touchdown. Like what? What are we talking about here? Brees Hall, 18 for 133 and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Warren, 16 for 127. Like, this team has just gotten shit on in the run. And the only thing that I kind of chuckle with is like, all right, is this going to be a tighter matchup? Is that going to be indicative of maybe, not being so much of a run blast game? But I don't know. Like...
I just don't.
Pat Fryer move. Like,
I don't see a world where it doesn't like.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to think like, hey, they come out of the bye, they get things together. But I've seen this story a million times. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
We don't have the guys like
end.
Trey Hendrickson's out.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not going to be in the cards. And if anything, that the Bengals, they're probably going to have success moving the ball and putting up points just because the Pittsburgh Steelers defense hasn't been great. And we put up points against them in the first matchup. So then you got that on the other side. And these are like
Chase
modest
overs.
lines.
T. Higgins over.
Clearly.
Like, and that's the other side. Receptions and yards over for those guys. And it's just a game that a 5-leg parlay will do very well in. If you just pick the right players. And we will be doing that. We're going to find out what that looks like on the weekend here. But just starting off, Chase, reception line, don't even want to know what that is against the Steelers defense that can't fucking stop a pass. And then even the yards. I'm going to say 9.5.
8.5.
8.5, yeah. I'm giving it 9.5 is crazy.
Yards, which is that's normal for him. But he's been Flacco's number one target. It's clear as day. There isn't really much else to be said here except Jalen Warren, Pat Freiermuth, Put your money on those guys this week. Tight end position, running back position. Straightforward from there. All right. Next up, we got the Packers-Giants. This is going to be a get-right spot for the Packers. They're going to need this one. Giants starting Jameis Winston.
That's the greatest thing I've ever heard. That's the best.
Oh,
Number
buddy.
one, why we said about the Wilson thing, like as we ended last week, this news came out, we were dying. We were like, there it is. There it is.
Well, you get the firing of Brian Dable, and then finally somebody steps
Someone's
up.
like, common sense. They're like, you know what? This is not it. This has not been it.
We're not doing that.
Maybe there are brains in that organization. Actually, they drafted incredibly well, albeit said. So it's kind of...
They did. But we'll see what this Giants team looks
that
like.
part of the team hasn't been the problem, honestly. Like that, outside of just the terrible coaching that we've seen, and we were saying
I don't know how the
Dable all
GM
last
has
season.
a job.
Well, that's because of the Saquon thing, for sure. But the drafts have been solid. Like that move kind of puts
he didn't even back the Jackson Dart thing too. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that. That's
it's funny
incredible.
that Jackson Dart's actually been a pretty solid QB considering.
Oh yeah.
And he wasn't even backing him. Like, I don't know how that guy has a job. Blows my mind. But
Fair.
this
No,
is
we called for that a while ago as well,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Oh,
either
yeah.
Dable or him. So, well, moves were made. So let's see how it goes. But he's next.
Yeah.
So what's up after? Like he's
I
next.
th- I think you got to go like Packers got to get one here. They got to have a big game. It's easy.
Yeah.
This is going to be a Josh Jacobs spot if I've ever seen one. Giants are giving
Giants?
up a shit
Yeah.
ton to the running back. And then Packers favored by 7. Totals 42.5. I don't know what we're going to get out of Jameis Winston. We've seen what he can do, but is he going to be able to
5
do that
touchdowns, 5
these
interceptions.
receivers? Yeah, like the Wandale Robinsons,
430
Theo
yards.
Johnsons. I don't know what he's going to be able to do with this offense, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But I think I just look at Josh Jacobs' rushing line every single week, and I go, okay, based on the volume that he gets, what is his line going to be at, right? Like 81.5, that's his rushing total for this week. That's the highest I've seen it all year. Same with his attempts, probably 19.5. Like these are numbers that have been the highest it's been all year, and rightfully so. You got we just saw what they did with Jacobs last week, right? Like they leaned on him heavily because of the fact that they lost Tucker Kraft. Now it's going to be Jacobs' show.
Romeo
Jordan
Dobbs
Love's
as well.
struggling, and game script it's in the Packers' favor, right? So
Yeah.
I look at that and I'm like, hey, those lines are a little bit higher. I might watch it in play rather than bet it prior to. I want to see the flow of this game and how it plays out.
That's valid. Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of one of those. It is just an injury game, which is always an interesting way to read one, right? Like at the end of the day, if a lot of players are getting out of it, then that affects team chemistry. That affects how guys play on an offensive line and defensive line. Like they're not pulling the right way, or there's some other bullshit in chemistry that happens, and then you have that fucking factor where guys aren't making the right routes. Like that, it can be severely one of those under games when everyone's kind of calling for the over. Even the line right now is 42.5 for the total, so it is favored heavily to Green Bay, which I think
the Giants will struggle to score.
Yeah, which is what I'm leaning with too. I don't think there's much there for the Giants. With the Packers defense, that's obviously kept things in check too. So that spread even at 7 for the Packers is something that's probably in play. I think this is kind of like a win by 10 situation. So that spread for Green Bay, kind of have an eye on that. And then, I think you're right on the Josh Jacobs attempts line and just being up in this game. Whether or not it's going to be a yardage game or it's just going to be kind of a run it through their team, which this defense has not been able to contain one bit.
Yeah.
But even what's interesting though is looking back against the lines here, the rush attempts hasn't necessarily been the play because the yardage they've given up is so much. So Hampton, week 4, 12 for 128. Saquon had 14 for 150. That was his revenge game, but he definitely didn't hit his over on his rush attempts. Then you had Christian McCaffrey with San Fran that just went fucking ballistic and had 28 attempts.
Yeah.
But then Swift, even last week, 13 for 80, right? And he would have fallen under on his attempts. So they're giving up a lot of yards on the ground, but not necessarily are they giving up a lot of attempts. And the attempts are kind of being spread out across the entire team. So that's something maybe to look at for that rush yard line. What is the rush yard line for Jacobs? Would you say?
It's 81, I think. 81.
81? Yeah, I think that's a press play, honestly.
I would think just given the volume in the game script, like he's got to hit that. His yardage last week was only like it. When I watch Josh Jacobs, it always seems like he rushes for more yards than he actually does. I don't know what it is. We talked about Jacobs, the first half. He's not really there, and then second half they feed him the fucking football.
It just blows up. Yeah,
it's interesting. So actually, when you play Josh Jacobs, it's literally in game.
Seriously.
So you
14
watch
and a half. If it dips below 14, you say
let it come
check,
back
please.
down. And
yeah.
then
What did it get
Josh
to that
Jacobs
1 week? We were looking at it. It was 11 and a half. Yeah, we were like,
and we were like, dude, that's a smash. Take that.
Yeah.
That's what you got to watch for out there. Is watch if they. Because obviously Packers like to get Jordan Love throwing the ball for some reason like crazy, and they just stay away from Josh Jacobs. This could be a game where they do that, and then they go back to Josh Jacobs in the second half. So watch the numbers come down by halftime, and then take Jacobs in the second half play. All right, let's get on to our next matchup here in the slate. We got Houston, Tennessee. Okay, we're going to bounce right off that because nobody wants to talk about that game. No, I'm kidding. We'll touch on it quickly. But, yeah, you got the Texans, Titans. Texans, 6-point favorites coming off that big win against Jacksonville, that big comeback one. Tennessee, you want to guess what the over-under is on this game?
37.
Yeah, 37 points. That's ugly. And you know what? It's probably going to go under that. I look at this game and man, this is going to be an ugly one. Not one I want to watch 1 minute of. Just going to be an ugly game. I think Tennessee's going to have a really hard time scoring against Houston. And on the opposite end, I just don't expect a shit ton from Houston against Tennessee. I think division game, this is going to be an ugly matchup, man. You got anything that sticks out?
No, I don't want any part of this.
I don't either, man.
It's just terrible all around. Like even honestly the offense, it kind of looks like it goes all around in both receiving side, like the whole slate of everybody, right? Like this was a good Gadsden game in week 9. Like Tyler Warren had good. He went over his yards. Just looking at the tight end side of things, Michael Mayer went over 50 yards, right? Like, so tight ends are kind of sticking out to me in the decent matchup against Tennessee. So Schultz is kind of like on the radar there. Other than that, I'm just kind of looking the reception, like everything across the board. Receptions kind of under for all the wide receivers, yards over. And that's where it's kind of leaning for me. It seems to me that almost every week there's a touchdown given up to at least one of these receivers. Kind of pick and choose, so I'm going to stay away from that. But the yards wise, it's kind of like the main guy is getting the work. So you had Michael Pittman for 73. You had Devontae Adams for 106. Puka had 91. You had Cortland Sutton for 61. Marvin Harrison Jr. 8 against this team with 98. So that's kind of like you pick out the main guy, the main receiver, and that tends to be where at least right now, where the flow is going. So, but then on the other matchups, it's kind of like it's widespread. Like everyone's getting a piece of this offense or this defense against Tennessee. So I'm just going to kind of stay away. I can't really read it too well.
Yeah, I don't want
It's just tough, man. Like the Tennessee, like they have not been good. Each week it seems like they're getting run on to no end. But I don't know if I trust anything coming out of the backfield right now. Just with Houston, just to play between the two guys. So I don't know. It's not one for me, but
yeah. I'm not going to be really touching.
37 points is also like that. That could be one of those games where a lot of like possessions is what drives this game. So you have like long possessions that ultimately lead to field goals. And I don't love that, right? So it's whether or not
I would
like
look at
you could
Houston
have 5 field goals in this
game
on both sides. Like it's just one of those terrible kind of games. That's what it's feeling for me.
I can see a defensive touchdown on the Houston side of things. Like that's the type of game I'm looking at.
Yeah,
ugly.
No, you're probably right on that.
We won't touch too much more on that. We'll get over to the next game here. We got the Chargers, the Jaguars. This is a big game for the Jaguars, man. They've kind of been sliding a little bit here. They got their problems. Lost Travis Hunter for the season. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to have to step up here. You're going against the Chargers team that can obviously score some points, and Jacksonville's been giving up a shit ton of points through the air. So this is a Justin Herbert game when I look at it. And Jacksonville needs a big win here. Chargers are favored by 3 points. It's in Jacksonville. Interesting thing is the total is only 43.5. So not expecting a shit ton of points.
By 3. Yeah.
It's something about the Chargers on the road too. I don't know, man. They give you those shaky games sometimes. I kind of side with the books on this, man. I think this could be an uglier game than you think. But I do think when I look at it first, I know what teams have been putting up against Jaguars defense. I look at Justin Herbert, 253.5. That looks like a number he could probably hit against this defense. But what stands out for you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of run on that Gadsden play that I was just talking about.
Even with the injury going on?
Yeah, even with the injury, I think
we know Jacksonville's pretty soft against the tight ends too.
Yeah, that's the play. I think I'll ride with that just on that notion. we talked about wide receiver standouts on this team and against Jacksonville, and that has been the case all season long. The main workhorse receiver has gotten all the work in these games, so you can kind of look there as well. But I don't know. It's just tough to kind of gauge that with the Chargers because they actually do have multiple wide receivers that are, I don't know, what would you consider? It's like wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. I don't know who at this point in the day in the season. I just think it's Ladd again. But it's kind of been all over the place. Keenan Allen honestly has fallen off a map in recent weeks here. So that's why I'm kind of leaning Gadsden. I think he's just kind of
trending
been
in that direction,
Yeah. So I would say Gadsden for his honestly one of the two. If his line's at 4.5, I'll take it at 4.5. And that's kind of where if it's at 3.5, I'll fucking take that and run. But that's just kind of where it's played. Dalton Schultz had a decent game. Travis Kelce had a decent game. Brock Bowers had a great game. Obviously, that was the big boom where everyone was like, he's back. But yeah, like this is the situation where, I don't know, I just kind of like that settling part. Dalton Schultz had 2 big games actually against this team. So 7 for 53 and a touchdown, right? So It looks like they've been giving up a lot of yards even in the last 4 weeks against the tight end position. Barner had 3 for 71. So that line is where it's kind of settling for me. I think even with that injury and that questionable play, it's still something that I'm going to lean to. So that would be my play in this game.
I like it.
And honestly, Herbert probably for yards. I think or completions, one of the two. It depends on what that line looks like. But he had a very down game last week. When we said it was going to be a big game and over,
that's why I like it.
Obviously did not transpire. So I think I agreed to that point.
Yeah, fair. All right, let's talk next matchup. We got Buccaneers Bills. This is a big matchup, man, because you got 2 teams coming off, some big losses here. They both need to get a victory in this game. I expect to see a little bit more from the Bucs in this game. And then you get the Bills at home, man. They need a victory as well. This is going to be a good game. The line is 5.5 on Buffalo side of things. And then you look at the over-under, 47. We expect a bit of points to be scored, and then we go to the lines. When I look at the matchup, we already talked about the Bucs are a little bit better against the run. But we know that James Cook is a big part of the Buffalo Bills offense too. So first thing I'm doing is I'm taking a look at the props. James Cook rushing line is 80.5 yards. I think he might struggle a little bit more on the ground. The other thing too with Buffalo is they're going to be missing Dalton Kincaid. And I know Buffalo has struggled tremendously without Kincaid in the lineup. So it might be a bit of a struggle for the Bills in this game. I think he's a key that nobody really sees. He does a lot of things. He helps in that passing game, especially with the play action with Josh Allen. Bills might struggle a little bit, but on the other side of things, I look at Bills have given up a lot of yards on the ground, and I go, okay, Rachaad White, he hasn't had any big games, so what's his line at right now? His yards, 43.5. I'm like, I can see that happening in this game. That looks like a nice spot. What do you think?
I'm not a fan of this fucking podcast right now.
Why? Because we're agreeing too much?
We're just agreeing the whole way through, and that's just bad juju. I don't know. I'm just joking, more or less, because this doesn't happen often. It sometimes does, but no. I think you're on this as well. I can't, as a Bills guy too. Like, this team has struggled. Spot on there. I think reception-wise, rush rec-wise with James Cook is a decent play. I think that's something that will come through just given what we just said about the options here. Khalil Shakir also on his reception line I think is a good play. I think this game is going to be, like you said, a little bit tighter. And there's a decent matchup there with Shakir. So I think they're going to be up. They're going to go run, right? And that's why I want to kind of lean on that rush rec opportunity with James Cook. He has dominated in situations like this. The rushing game, even though has been relatively decent, this is also a team that gave up 147 to Henderson, gave up 136 to Gibbs. James Cook is, again, in that top I want to say 5, maybe 7 running back situation in the league right now. And I think the attempts is going to come through. You have Jahmyr Gibbs, who had 17, CMC had 17. This is a situation where I think that comes through. Even Saquon, who struggled a little bit on the actual ground game, still had 19 attempts. So this is something that I'm going to kind of lean towards with James Cook. I also think you're right. This is kind of a Josh Allen moment game, right? Where there's a lot of conversation and, you know, he's kind of shown up in these situations. So, except for the playoffs. That's the other thing. Just not there yet. Let's hope. But yeah, no, in the regular season, it's happened lots, and we're starting to get a little cold. We're starting to get a little different on the climate. So that's when these Bills come alive, man. So that's something that I kind of want to lean to. As far as what you were saying with Rachaad White, I think that's a solid play too. All things considered, given what we've talked about with this Bills defense that has struggled so poorly against the run, it's actually probably their kryptonite at this point. A lot of people are kind of saying it's, you know, some of the receiving in the secondary, and I was observing that too. But as I've kind of watched this game develop over the season here, the run game is fucking awful. So 43.5 is honestly a pretty nice gift, all things considered. The only thing I would say with that is they do lean to the pass heavily with Baker, right? So if they are down, they will go heavy on the pass game. So I don't know what rush rec line looks like for Rachaad, but that might be the better play. But yeah, they've struggled really, like, against even the receiving side of the game. So that reception line for White might be something to look at. And I know obviously even Tucker's got a lot of play in the fantasy world lately. So something there could be even something you look at. But I think right now, that's where I'm going to lean. I think James Cook, honestly, rush attempts, rush rec. Khalil Shakir on receptions is a good play. And I will take Baker on his attempts. That's what I'm actually going to take. Yeah.
Good take. Yeah, hopefully that matchup's we get a good one from that in the 1 o'clock window. But we're going to talk our next matchup here. We're not going to get through everything today, guys. We're already at an hour on the show. We're going to talk the most important matchups here. And one I want to get into real bad right now is Seahawks and the Rams. This is the game I'm most excited for on the weekend. Mm-hmm. You get the Cooper Kupp playing his old team. You got to remember that too. Like this is going to be a good one. This is a good one. You got the Seahawks, the Rams. Rams are favored by 3. It's in L.A. Total is 48.5. We expect some points to be scored. And these two teams, man, they've been the talk of the town this year. So what do you see kind of standing out aside from, you know, everything that we've been seeing from these two teams already?
We're going to go Stafford passing yards. We're going to go Darnold passing yards. And that's what we're going to do in this fucking game. Just overs on the yards. No, I think Stafford's going to have one of his type of games here. If especially we have that kind of line set up the way that it is. I just can't see that this game doesn't go to the pass early and often. That's just kind of how these two teams play. Honestly, Seahawks don't even do that. They don't even lean run. So I can't see against the Rams team that they're gonna lean run. So if there's an under in play, it's probably Charbonnet or fucking Kenneth Walker on the under. More from the attempts perspective. I think they might be able to pop off a yardage play, but they haven't really all season. And they've just leaned so much to the pass with how effective that's been. And JSN has been so tough to fucking cover this season. It's kind of like, do it. So you got two of the best, honestly, three this season for the receiving side of thing. And you just mentioned Cooper Kupp as a revenge game. So there's a little bit of sprinkle there. This could be another one of those like over specials. The only thing I will say is just some of the matchups. for both of these teams, both 7-2 right now, 7-2 against the spread. This is a fucking wicked matchup
Yeah, this is gonna
altogether.
be awesome.
And a tough one for betting, honestly, because of those reasons, right? Like
Yeah, like
you have two teams
all
that
the
are so
money's on the overs
matched.
too.
Yeah, and it is going to be on the overs. So mix
I
it
just
in
looked
under.
at
But
JSN's receiving line. It's 100.5 yards. It's fucking wild.
yeah,
That's wild.
no, it continues to rise. We've been talking about that all season long. We got the under game. Be proud the fact that play action got you the under game.
We got the under
Now,
last week.
this one, yeah, I'm thinking it's the other way. Yeah, like
This is gonna be. I expect this to be a shootout, man.
this is going to be a shootout. You got like Akua. Honestly, he's looking spicy right now. Adams has got the tougher matchup, and I don't know if that even matters in this game. I think Stafford's going to twirl it. I think these guys have like on both sides of the ball here. Like JSN has a wicked matchup here too. I just can't see that this game is not going to be like Darnold throwing the ball all the fucking time. Matt Stafford saying, "Oh, I can do that too," and it's just going to go back and forth on that front. Cooper Kupp, I love that play. I love that. I love a revenge game. This is just beautiful, and it's not even a revenge game, but it is kind of like it is. Like you kind of let him go, right? So
I'll be taking his overs just because
I think the overs are there in play. I think I love that. I think that
his
altogether
reception line is minus 155 right now, 2.5. Like you know,
2.5 is so juicy. That's so good.
You know he's gonna get the ball.
Yeah, no, I can't say that I don't love any of what we just said. Like I think receptions is an interesting play for this team, but the yardage for sure. Just looking across the board here, a lot of these teams get played. It kind of spreads out for receptions, but the yards are very nice across the entire matchup. So, yeah, I think there's something to be said there. I don't know how much work Kyron's going to get. These are two pass early often teams. It's honestly going to be whoever gets up. And even I don't even think that rush attempt situation is going to come into effect. But what's Kyron's rush attempt line, just if you have it there?
Let me pull that up quickly. Rush attempts for Kyron. He's set at 12.5, which is a fairly low line.
That's a very low line for him.
Yeah. So, like...
Yeah. So they're already feeling that too, that this is going to be a heavy passing game. So...
That's what you expect, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean... he could go opposite,
nuts.
too. That's
what a
funny
low
thing.
line.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you could take advantage of if you really think, like, he's still going to get that volume. But you got to remember, like, Blake Corum's been getting some touches here and there, too. Like, just with the way that the Rams have been playing, they're going to be passing the ball, man. They're going to be putting the rock in Stafford's hand, and that's the way the game is going to go, and it should go.
Yeah, and it has been that. And when they've leaned, like, a lot of these big games from running backs have actually come on the passing side of the ball, not necessarily the running side. So... Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk the Sunday Nighter, Detroit Lions, Philadelphia Eagles. Detroit coming off that big win against the Commanders. They're going into Philly. I think this is, a spot where the Lions could struggle a little bit more, just being on the road. And then you got Philadelphia, still winning games, maybe not in the most convincing fashion. We saw a defensive kind of game against Green Bay last Monday night, and then Lions coming off the big victory. Total is 46.5. I might lean under in this game a little bit more. I don't know if there's going to be a shit ton of points scored. I don't think it's going to be that kind of game. I think Philly's defense can give Detroit a bit of problems. I don't think Goff's going to be able to rely on that heavy play action a lot against Philadelphia. And then when I look on the Philly side, I'm like, okay, Detroit's a little bit weaker against the pass, so I think Jalen Hurts is going to have to throw, but I just haven't been convinced by the passing game from Philadelphia yet. I haven't even looked at the lines, but I'm going to say Devontae Smith's receiving line is somewhere between 46 and 50 yards. Let's pull it up right now. What do we got? Devontae Smith, 55.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Books are catching up a little bit here. I look at this. He's been the most consistent, probably the guy I'm going to stay with again. That's where you're giving up the points. Chappie says otherwise. What do you got?
So this is the classic case of AJ Brown bitches about the passing. AJ
Gets the
Brown
ball.
gets the fucking ball. And that's what's going to happen in this game. It always happens all season long. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what's going on. Passing is not where I want it to be. Da 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 da. I'm going to read a book on the sideline. This is not the way I thought it was going to go all season. I thought we were better than this. I thought da 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 da.
Did you see the live
AJ
stream
Brown,
he went on?
100 yards. Yeah, talking shit there too.
said,
Either
"Drop
they
me
don't
in
give him the
fantasy
ball
if
at
you have
all as punishment, or they say, shut the fuck up, take the ball, and we're going to win another Super Bowl. And that's probably what we're going to see this week. So that's how this team, if you haven't caught up to the Philly drama is something gets said, reaction happens on the field. We're not going to the run enough. Go back to the run. We're not getting enough balls in the passing game. Go back to the pass. So it's like a fucking narrative back and forth between the media and the team and how they equally respond to those things. And so AJ Brown, what did you mean by those comments on the stream the other day? Oh, okay, sweet. Back to AJ Brown.
Chappie's all over the Diva Chronicles here, clearly.
The Diva Chronicles in Philly are a real thing. Watch them, observe it. AJ Brown, reception line, receiving line, give it to me all. I think it's just gonna happen. This is what happens every fucking time. It's right there in front of us. It's the same thing. Saquon, da-da-da, revenge game, da-da-da, boom, nailed it. Passing game wasn't there. Oh, boom, passing game, next game. Actually,
So
Jalen Hurts went 2 games straight where he went over on his passing yards. All the receptions came to Devontae and fucking AJ Brown. Went back to the run game.
Fair.
And then they bitch and complain. And they go, oh, I don't get the passes.
It has been
And then we had
same
this
song
stinker
and dance.
last week. I don't know what to do. It's like, yeah, bro, you were 0-0 in the fucking game. No one knew what to do. So, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like their offense is just it's weird. It's weird.
It's a weird fucking offense.
It's weird, but yeah, I mean, I like the Eagles passing attack in this game. I don't know what we're gonna get from Detroit, to be completely honest with you. I'm trying to look at excuse me, the lines right now and just see what stands out. And I go, okay, receptions. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's at 3.33 last couple of weeks. His line's at 3.5 on the receptions. Jameson Williams has honestly been the guy that's been getting a lot as of recent. I think in this game, Amon-Ra's he's 7.5 on the reception line, obviously plus 105. He's normally 6.5, so that's a little higher. 77.5 on the yardage line, like he's their guy. Man, I don't know. I just like the Eagles passing in this. It's the best matchup on the board, and I'm probably going to roll with that. I like where your head's at with AJ Brown too.
Yeah, I'm going to run with the diva mentality, and they're going to pay into it just because, again, investors, all the bullshit. Oh, we paid this guy. Da-da-da-da-da. Now he's complaining. Da-da-da-da-da. It's going to happen.
All right, lock it in. Okay, now
anything else. Yeah.
Before we wrap up the show here, we're going to rattle off our picks straight up. Every matchup on the Sunday. We're going to start with Commanders Dolphins. Chappie, who you got?
I'm going to go Dolphins.
I will go Commanders. All right, next up, Panthers Falcons.
I'm going to go Falcons.
Okay, I'm going to go Falcons as well. Bears Vikings.
We're going to go Vikings.
Oh, that was a tough one for you, eh?
It was.
I'm going to go Vikings as well. Okay, Bengals Steelers.
Bengals.
Wow. To win straight up?
Yeah, Bengals.
Holy shit, I'm going Steelers. All right, Packers Giants.
Packers.
Oh, yeah, not even. You don't need
Easy.
to guess on that one. Packers. All right, Texans Titans.
Texans.
I'm going Texans too. Chargers Jags.
Chargers.
I got the Chargers too. Bucks Bills.
Bills.
I want to go Bucks here bad. I do want to go Bucks here.
You could.
I'm going to go Bills.
Okay.
Just because I need them to win too, to keep pace in that division. All right,
Yeah,
Seahawks
that's my
Rams. Yeah.
This is the best matchup on the week for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Rams.
Okay. I'm going Rams too because I love watching them. I'm cheering for Stafford this year. I'm going to go Rams as well. All right, Niners Cardinals.
Niners.
I'm going to go Niners as well. Ravens Browns.
Ravens.
Ravens as well. Chiefs, Broncos.
Chiefs.
Chiefs as well. Lions, Eagles.
I'm going to go Eagles.
I'm going to go Eagles as well. And then Monday Nighter, Dallas against Vegas.
Dallas.
I got Dallas too. A lot of consensus there on the run, but those are our picks
Yeah.
for the week. Appreciate you guys tuning into the show. We'll be back to give you the recap next week. Good luck on your bets this weekend, your fantasy lineups, and let's enjoy some good football, hopefully. Chappie, you got anything else you want to say to the folks before we head out?
Like, hit that bell, and subscribe, folks. Appreciate it.
Please and thank you. Thank you, guys. Chappie and Bengals. Catch you on the next one.